All right, everybody. Thank you for watching Eastern Volleyball Network. My name is Graham Wren. With me, I have Kevin Knight. We're bringing you the first 2021 edition of Hot Takes, Hotter Bakes. Feels good to be back, man.
I was gonna say I can't wait to do this video. Really excited to see what kind of things come out of it, and honestly, it just feels good to get into some beach volleyball again, man.
Yeah, for sure. I miss doing these. I low-key got the itch to for a brief second thought about making one of these for one of the co-ed A tournaments that I was running, which would have just been absolutely wild. And then you're also thinking about how much people have had to drink at what points and how well people handle their liquor, and it would have been wild. And then I kind of stopped myself and it was like, okay, let's not do that.
Glad you had some modicum of self-control. Well,
yeah.
So we want to talk to all of you out there who might be listening. We really love doing this, and if you love what we're doing, give us a like and subscribe. It really helps us. We're trying to get to 1,000. We're at probably 2/3 of the way there, like 630, 640. So that's pretty amazing thus far. And sharing the video and telling other people to like and subscribe really helps us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Without further ado, let's just get into the bracket.
Yeah, let's do some bracket breakdown.
Though, I look at the bracket and
hold on. Where are we playing? Where are we playing tomorrow?
Sure. We're playing at TVA in Virginia Beach, the indoor SAM facility, brand new indoor SAM facility, by the way. They moved next door from the previous indoor SAM facility into their main facility, took out all the hard courts, and now they upgraded from 4 sand courts to 5. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but from the tournament logistics guru, I'll tell you, it's a big deal.
always a guru. And I guess I should specify, we are not playing. You are playing.
Yes.
Currently with a leg injury that hopefully will clear up in the next few months. But I'm more than happy to support you in any way I can and talk volleyball just like you did with me last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Except apparently come visit. You won't do that. Without any further ado, we'll get into the bracket. So we got 18 teams, double elimination as always. And without further ado, the 16-17 matchup. We have Tommy Spielman and James Morton against Ethan Best and Zach Palmer.
All right, so who are these guys?
Sure. So Spielman and Morton are your typical Liberty beach converts. I would say they're still on that kind of transition gradient from indoor to beach. Pretty clearly indoor monsters, both physical, both hit the ball hard. And they're definitely farther along that gradient. They do a lot of good things. Still figuring it out a little bit. Ethan Best and Zach Palmer, both Virginia Beach natives, who I actually played ball against in high school and in college as well.
So our age kind of guys?
Yeah, our age. Zach hasn't been playing much beach, if any. Ethan plays some occasionally, but I haven't seen him out here in a long time. What was that?
Who are you taking?
Taking Spielman and Morton. I think their physicality is going to be a little too much for Ethan and Zach to handle.
I don't know enough about them. I think I played Spielman actually, and he was pretty solid, but I don't know enough about the rest of them. So next match, what is it, 15-18?
Yes, the next match is 15-18. Also out of Liberty, we have Zach Martin and Eugene DeJesus against Francis Becknell and Josh Bender.
I was going to say, I know Eugene. He's physically really freakish. I hope his ball control is coming along. I think Zach Martin might have been somebody else I played against that I thought, oh, this guy's going to be something if he sticks with it. But he was a little too raw at the time to get past. I think it was Bigford, not maybe. I don't know. Anyway,
I affectionately refer to him as Troy Field Jr.
Oh, the pink hat. I do remember.
Yeah.
He was good.
And the slunks. Don't forget the slunks. Always the slunks.
Getting slunky out here. Anyway, that's a good team. I'm really happy to see him out there. What do you think about the other team?
So the other team, we recently, the end of last year, we had a member of our Atlantic region up in the Maryland area, the sole member of our Atlantic region in the Maryland area, Cam Beans, disgruntled at being left off of the top 5 list for the region and only receiving honorable mention, actually defected to the Midwest.
While still living in Baltimore.
Yes, while still living in Annapolis, but in spirit, he has defected to the Midwest. Word is still out on whether Joe Ruzick and the rest of the Midwest have accepted his application to join the Midwest, but he has defected.
Beans is a baller wherever he goes, so whatever reason gets him, should love to have him. But yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and so obviously in Maryland, after Cam Beans left, there was this power vacuum.
Also, not to trash Joe Ruzick too much, but we're still waiting on that top 5 from the Midwest video.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
I'm sure I'll hear about that from him if you watch.
Dave Arnold moved up that way, and then
that's a big move.
Yeah, Dave Arnold moved up that way, and then Francis and Josh, as well as James Moyer, who we'll introduce in a little bit, they've all been training together up there.
All right, 15-18 match, Pigtails into the 2 seed. Who we got?
I'm taking Francis and Josh from Baltimore. It's they're coming in with a whopping 0.5 points, but I've also seen some footage of them playing, and they do some good things. They're training.
Have you seen footage of them playing? Just curious.
Francis actually sent me a video of their set.
Dang, so they really have been training them. That's good for them.
Yeah, they've been getting out of it, and they're wearing heavy sweats, so they're out there in the cold. They've been getting after it.
Shout out to them for getting after it. All right, so what's our next?
All right, next we got the 1 versus 16. Aforementioned David Arnold and Andrew McMurray, aka Professor Curls. That's his identity when he is playing with David Arnold, as nicknamed by David Arnold, playing Spielman and Morton.
So these are both former partners of mine that I love dearly. I played extensively with both Andrew and Dave. And they actually play somewhat similar styles of defense where they just are really fast and all over the court. Dave, I think, is a little bit more mysterious in how he gets the ball versus Andrew's just flat out really athletic. The obvious issue, which you may not have thought, is that I just said both of them are defenders. But that being said, they're incredible individuals as far as ball control goes, and both have played both sides. So this should definitely be, top 4 contender, I would imagine, just on pure individual skill. However, they haven't played together much. So Professor Curls and the Dave Arnold, the Airbender, it doesn't really matter who they're playing against until I think the semis and finals. I'm taking them because they're my boys, but also because they're really good volleyball players.
I think I have to agree. I think they're gonna do all the little things in a match, and they're not gonna give away any points at all. And I think Tommy and James are still prone to, kind of occasionally just giving points away, and you can't give points away against David and Andrew. So we're gonna take
indoor errors, right?
Yeah, it'll be a match that has a lot of entertaining points going back and forth and some high level stuff going on from both sides, but I think the score will be like 21-14 or 15.
All right, 2 versus 15.
No. Next we have the 8 versus the 9.
Oh. Right.
Bracketology. Bracket.
Going down. Okay. Who we got?
At the 8, we have James Moyer, also out of the Baltimore area, and Cam Rodriguez against Brian Conacher and Josh Lanier.
Cam Rodriguez coming back out. I haven't seen that guy in a little while, and the only thing I remember is 1, he has pretty good hops, and 2, he makes really poor calls as a referee. So I'm already biased.
Yeah, he does make some bad calls as a referee, but he definitely gets after it on the court for sure.
Definitely gets after it.
I think I haven't seen James play, but I have, other than the one instance of footage sent to me by Francis. But knowing what Cam brings to the table, I think that's enough for me to pick Cam and James here, round 1.
Okay. I'll go with you. That's a tough team in terms of just the amount of years they've played each.
Yeah, for sure. Cam's a very fast defender, covers a lot of court, and kind of a nightmare for a guy like Brian who wants to shoot first, swing second. So
What's our next?
next we have Misha Freystater and Joey Pate against I forget their first names, but it's Hazel and Reese. Hazel and Reese looked them up on AVP America out of like Huntersville, North Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina. Kind of just based, and they had a fair amount of AA finishes, and Kevin didn't really know who we were, so we're kind of assuming that they're.
Hey, good for them for coming out. And I just, based on that description, I'm going to go with my old training partners, Misha and Joe Pate, and they're probably going to hit overline every single point of the game until somebody stops them. Both of them.
It's true. It's true. Next at the 4 versus 13, we have yours truly, Graham Wren, Sean Regglesworth against Joel Monasterly and David Monasterly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we got the OG team of Graham and Graham's coach. And then we have, I guess, what would be brothers or father-son?
Brothers. Yeah, brothers in the Virginia Beach area. Joel has played a lot in the Virginia Beach area for a long time.
Okay.
Joel was actually Travis and my kind of first introduction to, hey, this is what kind of real pass set hit volleyball looks like. When we ran into him in our first AA tournament and smoked everybody else, and then all of a sudden, he and his partner were passing and setting and doing things. We were like, what's this?
I'm gonna say that y'all win in 3, not knowing the other 2, based on morning jitters and maybe some saltiness out of Sean early in the day.
So you say some sulkiness?
He just hadn't had his coffee yet. That's all.
Hasn't had his coffee yet. Yeah.
Poor guy. No, I think that y'all do well. I don't really know the other team, but I'm going to pick your match for you and say that you'll go 3, but you'll win convincingly in the 3rd. Next.
Convincingly in the 3rd. All right. Next we have the 3 versus 14, Matt McLaren and Luke Parks against the 14, Zach Tucker and Carson Strawbridge.
What's the total height on Luke Parks and McLaren?
I would say 13'1".
That's a ridiculous number of inches.
6'8" and 6'5".
Yeah.
6'8" and 6'5". They're big. Zach Tucker and Carson Strawbridge are 2 juniors coming out and playing open, which is awesome to see. What was that?
I said, love to hear that. But they're also shorter than Matt and Luke, so I'm going to go with Matt and Luke.
Yeah, not that much shorter though. I think Zach Tucker at either 16 or 17 years old is a full 6'4". Carson's probably 6'2".
Okay.
And yeah, I mean they're, especially for their age, which I'm pretty sure they're 16s right now. They're pretty good.
Played much beach or no?
Carson has played a ton of beach. I think Carson may have won like U14 or U15 nationals or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Love to hear that about the Virginia Beach team. All right, who's next? We're going with 3 seed.
We're going Luke and Matt. Next, Aaron Campbell and Gene Wade against Vipond and John Agarway.
Be like Gene, first of all. Love to see Gene Wade. Always bringing new guys up. That's every volleyball team needs a Gene Wade. Super nice guy, great guy to play with.
It's only fitting that these guys' first trip to Virginia Beach, first person they got to go through is Gene Wade.
Gene Wade. Yeah. So Joe Agarway, I love to see that he's coming out to Virginia Beach. He generally plays, I think, in the Midwest and the Ohio region. You see him a lot at the events that Joe Ruzick is the co-host on for our videos. He's definitely a grinder. He's trying to get better and better each time. So really happy to see him come. And Rob Vipond is a kind of staple in Tennessee. He plays any and all Tennessee tournaments. So it's also good to see him traveling. He's another one that's really trying to get better, but he has to travel, I think, like 2 hours for any good ball last time I talked to him. So traveling is just part of the game on the East Coast, and glad to see that those 2 guys are making it out. I think that because Agro has been working really, really hard in Ohio, I'm going to go with him. I think that he's going to prove too much of a trouble for Gene Wade. And I think that they're going to have some fun in Virginia Beach. Make sure to show them a good time.
Yeah. Okay. I'll agree with you there. One caveat Aaron is pretty fast and covers a fair amount of court. So if they allow Aaron to touch the ball a lot on defense, that could turn into an interesting match. But otherwise, I agree. Next, Travis Graven, Ryan Ludwig against Cortland Scherenborg and Dalton Bundy. I'll go ahead and take this one. So Travis is my OG beach partner. We played indoor club together in high school, college, beach together for a good 3-4 years. And he's playing with Ryan Ludwig. Yeah, it's good to see him back out. He took a little bit of a hiatus, but I think this might be. Now we played an occasional open tournament last year, but I think this is his first open tournament since probably.
So how's that
actually
team work?
2019? Think about it.
How's that team work?
They might be split blocking. Travis might be going up. Travis and I would typically split block, but he's definitely kind of like he would be kind of an undersized blocker, if that makes sense, kind of 6'2", 6'3".
I feel that.
Yeah. Ryan, I think everyone knows Ryan from the Virginia Beach scene. Scrappy defender. Has
Great
good
on the mic.
shots. What was that?
Great on the mic.
Yeah, great on the mic. Against Cortland and Dalton. Cortland, everyone knows who Cortland is as well. 6'3", 6'4", pretty athletic, played at Ball State, has good ball control, sets really well, hits well, has good shots. Dalton's out of the DC-ish area, Northern Virginia area. The dude is very athletic, and
real loud, hitting and vocally.
Yes, that's accurate. He absolutely smokes the ball, jumps real high. I think Travis and Ryan just kind of get beat up physically in this match.
Okay.
I'm going to take Cortland and Dalton.
Do they get beat up verbally?
No, I don't. Maybe. It depends. Dalton generally doesn't open his mouth unless you open your mouth. Oh. But the second his mouth opens, the floodgates are open, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was on the receiving end of that. It's a fun match. All right, who's next?
Next, we have the 2 versus the 18. Nick Drucker, Brett Rosenmeyer against Francis Becknell, Josh Bender. Love that the Maryland boys are coming down here. Unfortunately, though, we haven't had a ton of people from the Baltimore area playing beach, and there's a reason for that. Baltimore is particularly known, for their chowder. Oyster chowder, clam chowder, you name it. Fortunately, I think the boys are going to be throwing up a little too much chowder to compete with Nick and Brett out there.
Just based on the region being famous.
Yes, just based on the region. They kind of, we haven't had anyone from Maryland truly, showing up week in, week out to tournaments. It's going to take some time to assimilate back in, and chowdery sets are a byproduct of that. What was that?
It's probably because Beans is playing in the Midwest.
Yeah.
No, those tournaments are really strong, so I understand that. I'm going to go with Drucker and Rosenmeyer. That's a really strong team. Likely one of my favorites to be in the finals, unless they really don't mesh well. Nick has an unbelievable player. He's been working really hard, so I got to go with the 2 in this one.
Yeah, we'll take him in 2. Next, we have Dave. What was that?
I was going to ask, is that the entire winners bracket, or do we have more?
We have more. That was only the round of 16.
Yeah. Sorry. Is that the entire round of 16?
Yes.
Okay. We're like 20 minutes in. I was just giving you a heads up. We're doing pretty decently, but
okay.
Let's keep cranking.
Okay. Next, we have Dave Arnold, Andrew McMurray against James Moyer, Cam Rodriguez. Taking Dave and McMurray in 2 just based off of knowing them, and I think both of them are a little better than Cam. And I haven't seen James play, so we're gonna stick with them.
Yeah, definitely. Ball control alone.
Okay. All right. Next, we got an interesting one. We have Misha Freistater, Joey Pate against Graham Wren, Sean Rigglesworth. And I guess my hands are tied here, and I don't get to say anything.
So generally in these videos,
so what are you picking?
We pick each other's matches to. It used to be to keep my bias out of it because I would always pick myself. So I will be picking this match. And unfortunately for Graham, these are my training partners. Misha and Joe tend to play pretty well together. I know that Graham and Sean tend to play pretty well together. It's a tough match. I think it does go 3. I'm gonna go with my guys Misha and Joe Pate because uh, because
You're
they
doing what? You're gonna what? You've got to be kidding me! You are not gonna pick Misha and Joe to take out me and Sean. Are you nuts? You have lost your mind.
I made my pick, and I'm not even gonna put a case up there for you to argue. Misha is the biggest blocker on the court, size-wise, and
Not hard though. You see my boy out there?
Sean will be well caffeinated, I'm sure.
Yeah, that is fine.
I'm going on hometown heroes and Raleigh town heroes, hometown for me, and the fact that the two of them, I think are gonna put it together. I think that on paper that you and Sean are actually maybe more skilled overall as a team. I just think that Joe and Misha are gonna come out with some chemistry and ready to bang. And I can't wait to hear about it if I'm wrong.
Okay, see, here's the thing you got to understand. Sean and I show up for big games, and I don't know if I've had a game that was this big in a long time, and here's why. So
That's not saying much.
It's true. I was out with injury. Misha is notoriously terrible at checking his Facebook, which I did not know at the time. Added him on Facebook. Didn't hear anything for like 3-4 months. And then, he came down and played a tournament. We were sitting there talking, and I gave him a hard time about it. I was like, dude, my friend request has been in your inbox for like 3 to 4 months now. And he was like, oh, yeah, I don't check it. I mean, he was like, look at this. And he literally pulls up his Facebook. He's got 70 unanswered friend requests in there. And he's like, I guess I should go through these and update. It's my once a year or whatever. So he starts going through. He's confirm, blah, blah, blah. And then he stops and he looks over at me and gets this evil fucking grin. And then he's like, I'm going to accept all of these except yours. Yours is going to sit there. So since then, he has stayed true to his word and has not accepted my friend request. And kind of our running bet every time we run into each other in tournament is if I beat him, he has to accept my friend request. So the stakes have never been higher.
Sounds
Literally
like
never been higher. What was that?
Sounds like you've never beaten him.
We've only played once.
Fair enough. I've made my pick. Misha's friend request stays unanswered.
I don't know if my heart can go through that again. But I'll put it in the bracket. I value the integrity of this show more than my pride. We will move on now, somehow. Luke Parks, Matt McLaren against, is it Vipond? How are you saying it?
I say Vipond. It might be Vipond.
Okay.
Not sure. Team Long boys are just going to be super equal for this. So I'm just immediately going with 3. Sorry, Rob. Glad to see Joe's out there. They got good ball control, but Luke and Matt are way too big.
Yeah, for sure. And Matt brings a pretty strong indoor pedigree. And Luke is a full 6'8". Oh, yeah. And there are just points that he just does 6'8" things, and you're like, well, okay, that's cool. Yeah, exactly. Next, and might be the most interesting match so far. Nick Drucker, Brett Rosenmeyer against Cortland Scherenberg and Dalton Bundy in the round of 8.
This is definitely a trap match for the 2 seed.
Yeah.
So Nick and Rosenmeyer, I don't think have played before in a tournament together. And Nick, in my experience from last year, either clicks with you or he doesn't. When Nick and I played, we played incredibly well in a tournament, and we played not great, but we also made the finals in the second tournament we played together, and only lost after Nick unfortunately got injured. But then I think so. I was expecting further success from him all year because he played incredibly well with me, and he and Bryce laid an egg in Wilmington, and then he and Beans, I think they did okay, but not great at one of the big TVA tournaments. And then he came back out and made a finals in Wilmington with Angels. So you click with him or you don't. And I don't know what his relationship or how he and Rosenmeyer are going to do. But This is definitely a trap match. What are you thinking of this one?
I've been going back and forth on this. Cortland very adamantly believes that they've got this.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cortland
feels.
You'll definitely hear from Nick if you pick against him in this one.
I'm aware. When it comes to voicing his displeasure with me picking against him, he's an open drook. I
don't think that one's gonna land. Ultimate competitor.
I don't think that one will land either. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah, keep shooting them.
So here's what it comes down to for me. I think Brett is the biggest presence at the net there in that match. He's a little more physical than both Dalton and Cortland. And I think Brett and Nick just have they're a little bit better at generating points. They have more tools to generate points in my mind than Dalton and Cortland do. Just by a little bit, between a combination of Brett's block being larger, Nick's serve. Dalton has an absolutely monster serve as well, whether it's a jump topspin or a jump float. Trained against it for a full year and thing ate me alive. He's got a monster serve. But I think Nick and Brett just end up being just a tiny bit too much for Dalton and Cortland to handle. I think
you're not going the trap match upset?
I'm not going the trap match upset. I wanted to, and the bracketologist in me wanted to, but I was
gonna say we get burned on picking scratch in picking the higher seeds in other tournaments, but
yeah, we do, but I also know that Cortland hasn't. Part of this pick is that Cortland hasn't been training a ton either. The guys at Workhorse, he's been working full time and grad school full time at the same time. Shout outs to him for really getting shit done. But unfortunately, that does carry over to the court a little bit. So I think it's just enough for him to not pull this off.
2 over the 7. Onward.
All right, Dave Arnold, Andrew McMurray against. Can't even fucking say it. Misha and Joe Pate.
I'll take this one because 3 out of the 4 guys are my training partners, and the 4th guy was my partner.
I was gonna say Dave and Andrew in one, but
I think because Joe, Pate, and Andrew, 1, play against each other so often, and 2, are very similar in the way that they like to shoot the ball around a lot. I think that Andrew steamrolls this match. Not single-handedly, but he just is going to have Joe's number, and it's going to frustrate Misha like you wouldn't believe. But the fact that Andrew almost kind of helped Joe get into the game, I think, a little bit. I mean, Joe was playing a little bit, but Andrew really brought him into the group. I think that it's kind of like Will Rodriguez has a thing about never being able to beat Angel. I think that same paradigm is going to hold for Joe Pate trying to get past Andrew. And I think Andrew wins this, and I don't think Misha and Joe score more than 15.
Okay, well let me ask you this: who gets past who first? Will past Angel or Joe past Andrew?
Will past Angel.
Okay.
Will's going to be able to pick up better partners faster because he's a blocker. That's kind of it.
All right, fair enough. So we're going to go with Dave Arnold and Andrew McMurray. Moving on to the crossover.
Right.
The other half, we got Luke Parks, Matt McLaren against Nick Drucker, Brett Rosenmeyer.
I'm going to go. I was going to say I'm going to go the upset. I was going to take Parks and McLaren, but Nick does well early in the year. What are your thoughts on this? Nick has traditionally done well early in the year, but
Luke, I think Matt, I still kind of think I like Nick and Brett here.
Okay. I was gonna say I want to take Nick because I know that he always comes out early and brings it. He seems to be a little more ready than a lot of people are at this point in the year, January, February, March.
Yeah.
And who knows what Luke what version of Luke you're gonna get. You can get a guy that gets 4 aces to set, or a guy that's off and isn't scoring that much with the serve. So
yeah. Well, what's also interesting too, I'm going to call Matt McLaren the Greg Vogel of defense. Meaning that
he's either digging everybody or missing.
Right. It's like you'll put in, you'll play against Matt, and maybe you're putting ball after ball after ball away, and then all of a sudden he gets 6 on you in a row, and like that's kind of how it feels. Is that he it's almost like he figures something in you out, and then he's able to kind of know what you're doing. So like if you play very disciplined offense, I don't think he's quite ready to pick up a ton of balls, which I give Nick and Brett a lot of credit for playing very disciplined offense. But if you do even show him a little bit, he'll take a mile. It's kind of my take on that. So we'll go with Nick and Brett.
Over the 3 seed in 2 or 3.
I'm gonna say in 2. I think the only way that Luke and Matt can win this match is if Luke just goes off with his jump serve.
Okay.
And you've got a former starting 0-2 for Hawaii and Nick passing on the other side. So
let's break into contenders.
Yeah. All right. First match, we have Francis Becknell, Josh Bender against Ethan Best, Zach Palmer.
I'll let you go on this one.
I think Francis and Josh roll here convincingly. Okay. Next, we have, and that was the 17th place game. The other 17th place game, we have the Liberty Bowl, boys. We have Tommy Spielman, James Morton against Zach Martin and Eugene DeJesus.
So these guys practice against each other all the time. So that's going to be really interesting.
Well, it gets even more interesting.
Really happy they're all coming out, and let me know why it's getting more interesting. Well,
so one, I would imagine that they, that they're economical individuals. I would imagine that they're carpooling together.
Oh yeah. This is the real match for bragging rights in the car.
Yeah, I mean that's a long fucking car ride home. If you lose this match, no pressure, guys.
So you want to go toss on it?
No, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
So I reached out to Zach and I was like, hey, are you playing this? So what I actually said, I was like, are you playing this? I saw Tommy and James are coming down, and he was like, I thought I might have been coming down with Tommy, but I guess not. and then to kind of even add a little more, Liberty flame to the fire. So we've got, when you're grinding through the middle of the bracket, right? When you're not the top seed, you're anywhere somewhere in the middle in the chaos, the mosh pit, right? How important are points? So huge, right? Like when you're talking about just the draw that you get, and how many, getting a quote unquote, easier road through to the next round, and just
it really matters.
Just propelling you forward, and it compounds itself, right?
Yep.
So here we are back in December. I roll into TVA on a Saturday, just not really doing much. And who do I look over as seeing in his rolling AA? But Tommy Spielman, because he needed 4 finishes to max out his points, taking that first in AA like a dog.
There he is.
Which I love it, for the record. Absolutely love it that he's thinking about that. And is like, you know what? I need to get my 4th finish. I'm going to go win this AA so it counts for something. So now he's sitting there at 180 points.
So that's who you're taking.
And then to completely break behavior, he picked James over here with like 80 or 90 points over Zach, who's sitting there at 200. So they could have been rolling in as a 7th seed, and he went with James instead. So for James, you got to be feeling good. And I think off that emotional high and the faith that Tommy's clearly showing in James, I got to go with Spielman and Morton.
So this is a faithful group. So that's saying something.
Yeah. So we'll go with Spielman and Morton. Next, we got Becknell and Bender against Travis and Ryan.
It's all you again.
Yeah. Oh. It's a rough draw for the boys, but I think the only way they win this match is if Ryan, figuratively takes out a second apartment in the Baltimore area for free and is living rent-free in Francis and Josh's head.
Very possible. I've seen him.
Which is possible, but Francis is a big 6'5".
Yeah. I think this game depends on if Ryan brings hecklers. If there's hecklers there, I pick them to win this.
It's true, but Joey will not be there.
Okay.
So that's the main heckler gone.
Sad to that.
Yeah, I think I gotta go with Francis and Josh here. I think it will be close and it'll be competitive, but I think I gotta go Francis and Josh.
All right.
Next we have Gene Wade, Aaron Campbell against Zach Tucker and Carson Strawbridge.
Going with whatever you pick again.
I'm taking the young guns. I think
over Gene Wade.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Carson is still youthful enough that he does not get tired. So I think he will be running down and chasing after every single one of Gene Wade's shots. And
you guys are funny out there. I love it.
Yeah, so I think the young guns are gonna get a dub here.
Okay.
Next we have the Monasterleys against Hazel and Reese. Don't know Hazel and Reese, but gotta go with the boys. Gotta go with the Monasterleys. Next we got Brian Conacher, Josh Lanier against Spielman and Morton.
Is this 13th or 9th?
This is 13th. So Spielman and Morton have not had an easy road, and I think they keep on chugging.
I think they do too. I love Josh and Brian for traveling out, trying to get better, and Josh has been working on his hands like crazy to try and get ball control aspects down. But that's a really rough draw for 13th place match, and
for sure
they're going to be on an emotional high coming out of that Liberty Bowl.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Moving on to the 9th place, we now have Becknell and Bender against Wren and Regglesworth.
Wren and Regglesworth, let's go.
Okay, thank you.
Not going to go into the match. I'm just going to say that I've seen Sean when he's a little torqued, and he gets points at will.
Yeah. Next, we have Zach Tucker, Carson Strawbridge against Moyer and Rodriguez. I kind of think the experience of Cam ends up being too much here.
Yep. Cam Rodriguez is a very solid player and very difficult to get past on a regular basis. So I think you're right about that.
And for the record, James, I'm not discounting your ability. I just don't know what it is. So
fair enough.
Next, the other 7th place match, Cortland Scherenberg, Dalton Bundy. Wait a minute. Yes, sorry.
Come on, Brad.
Scherenberg, Bundy against the Monasterleys, and I think Cortland and Dalton roll.
I think that's pretty straightforward.
Spielman, Morton against Vipond and Joe.
So this is similar to the old March Madness, the 12 seed that comes in and makes an Elite Eight or a Final Four. I'm going Liberty Boys again coming out of the Liberty Bowl and riding on faith and flames.
Yeah, no, I like Spielman and Morton's game a lot. So I think they'll get another dub here.
Quick question: if they were to lose the Liberty Bowl, do you think the other team makes it through that same route?
I mean, you've got to say yes, right?
I was gonna say I think it's just the one.
You have to say yes. Like if our faith in Spielman and Morton is that high, and then Martin and Eugene get through Spielman and Morton, then you've got to assume that they would get those same W's.
Yep. All right. What's our fifth place?
That we have 7th still. We just finished 9th. Wren and Regglesworth against Moyer and Rodriguez.
I think you guys get screwed on some calls, and that leads you to drop set 2.
He's playing, not reffing.
I know. It happens whenever he's on the court, and then that makes Sean go like complete Hulk mode, and you win set 3 like 15-6.
All right, I'll take it, but I don't think I'll even be playing that match anyway.
You're thinking it'll be Misha and my guy Joe Pate
if they get past Francis and Josh, which I think would be a highly entertaining match for the record. It's kind of it's a little bit of big little.
Well, that's not going to happen because I've already made my pick, so we'll move on.
Okay. Next we have Dalton and Cortland against Spielman and Morton.
That's tough. My this is my fairy tale team. I'm gonna go Spielman on this one. What are you thinking on this?
I think Cortland and Dalton. I think if you give Spielman and Morton a year of, get like a full beach season year, like if you were to revisit this matchup in a year, it would be highly entertaining. I think, but I think Cortland and Dalton are too beach consistent for Spielman and Morton.
How do you want to settle it?
I was just going to take my pick, but if you want a coin toss, you're welcome to.
I'm gonna do a
to potentially sway your mind. In the same tournament, Regglesworth and I beat Spielman and Morton twice.
Okay. All right, fine. I'll go with you.
Yeah. Great run, though, boys.
Great run.
5th place, Wren and Regglesworth against McLaren and Parks.
I think as the smallest blocker on the court, Sean's going to take over this one. No, I think that you are the best defender on the court, and I think that Sean is actually arguably, technically maybe not the best blocker, but I would say he gets the most blocks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He's a pretty risk-on blocker. Like, he'll really go for stuff if he sees it, and I think he'll be on for this one. And I think that I haven't given you enough credit because I know you've been working super hard, and so I've been mentioning Sean taking over match after match, and I think that you finally get your day here. I think you upset this match, and you're going on to the 3rd place match.
Yeah, that would I would definitely be happy with that. That's definitely
it would be a solid win.
It's definitely a solid win, and it would be conquering a demon, so to speak. I think I've lost to Luke in 3 probably 6 times, and I haven't beaten him yet. And it's Luke with different people too. Like it's been Matt, it's been Zach.
What's the other one?
Ready for a win. We got Cortland and Dalton against Misha and Joey Pate.
If I took Misha and Joe over y'all, I'm taking Misha and Joe over Cortland and Dalton.
We got to flip a coin. I'm going Cortland and Dalton all day.
All right. A credit card's gonna have to do. You got a coin? Because I got this in my hand. Red side, white side.
Okay. We'll do yours.
All right. Misha's on the red and Cortland's on the white. Wait, I need more flips. There we go. Red side's up. Misha's going to the semi.
I mean, it sounds like the first one was Cortland and Dalton, and now you're.
Flip again?
I do want you to flip again.
All right. Well, it was red.
We'll go Misha. We'll go Misha and Joey.
It was red a 3rd time. It's conclusively the luck is on the side of Misha and Joe.
Okay.
All right. What's our semis matchup?
First one, we have David Arnold and Andrew McMurray against Wren and Regglesworth.
I think they're going to have a really tough time stopping you guys because they don't have a true block. But if people try to hit hard, if they go after, like, let's say they go after Sean, Andrew's actually really good at clamping people trying to bounce on him. I think I'm going to go with my old partners, but I think that both sets are close. I think it'll be 21-18, 22-20 in the 2nd set.
Okay. And with that, I drop down to the losers bracket from the winners round of 4. Well, and then the other one, we've got Nick Drucker and Brett Rosenmeyer against Misha and Joe Pate.
So at this point, I think Brett Rosenmeyer runs out of steam, and Misha and Joe Pate win in 2 and go straight to the final.
You think he runs out of steam after he's been sitting for 3 matches?
I just had to find a reason to take Misha and Joe Pate to the final. Because at that point, you got to realize I've taken 3 out of 4 of the finalists are my Raleigh boys. I think I've lost you.
Yeah, you broke up.
It's all right. I'm not recording, so we can just keep going.
That's fine.
I said 3 out of 4 will be my Raleigh boys, but I'm sure you're probably going to disagree.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree. I was gonna say strongly, but I'm gonna say vehemently. I mean, this is also what, match 5 at least for Misha at this point.
Yep.
So Misha's gonna be dragging a little bit. You know, I think you know, I think Brett and Nick have a lot of tools at their disposal to score points. I think it just comes, and they're gonna side out like a machine.
I don't think you've convinced me yet. You're just gonna take. You're just. I mean,
what happened to your faith in Nick Drucker?
You're just gonna take Nick and Brett.
Doesn't sound like it's that strong.
You're just gonna take Nick and Brett.
What was that?
All right, fine. You've convinced me. Nick is a really good player. Brett's coming up.
Okay.
Misha and Joe have had a great run this far in the tournament, if I'm correct about all of my calls, which has never been the case. So we'll go the 1 seed versus the 2 seed in the finals. How do you think this one shapes up?
And a little inside scoop for you. Brett has been doing some high intensity interval training, is what he was telling me. So I'm thinking we'll see a revitalized Brett Rosenmeyer in the
this is where
this weekend.
This is where the co-hosts use the word allegedly. According to my sources.
Allegedly, yeah. Okay, so the final. Dave Arnold, Andrew McMurray, Nick Drucker, Brett Rosenmeyer.
I think Andrew and Dave just out defend, out clean the true big little team of Brett and Nick. What are your thoughts? They're just cleaner defense, cleaner setting, cleaner passing. That's not.
And I don't know if I agree with any of the things you just said. I would say the cleaner passing is on the Drucker Rosenmeyer side.
I don't know Brett well enough. I like his game. I like what I saw when he and Andrew played, but I've only really seen him a couple times. So I don't have that much insight on him, and I imagine that Andrew and Dave will go after Brett.
It's true. I do think the final becomes a test of can Rosenmeyer last. Whether that's, you know, floating and running up, whether that's split blocking and jump serving, etc. I do think it comes down to, but in all honesty, I still think I would even take a split blocking, float serving Rosenmeyer and trust Nick to get hot from the service line over frankly, you know, David and Andrew, who probably aren't. I don't think either of them is big enough to give Brett much trouble at the net.
I don't know. The matches I watched, Brett looked really good, but he started every single time. He started making not dumb errors, but like tired errors when he was playing with Andrew, getting all the balls. And I will also say that not many people get very far betting against Dave Arnold.
Yeah, the EVP being a great example.
That's my take. So, yeah. What are we doing about this final? You know what? I'll take. We can
just leave it undecided.
I was gonna say I'll take Andrew and Dave, and you take. If this is the final, I'll take Andrew and Dave. You take Brett and Nick, and we'll put sushi dinner on. And then if you make the final, I'm buying you sushi dinner regardless.
Okay, I'll take that.
Good? You want to wrap us up?
Yeah. Thanks for watching Hot Takes, Hotter Bakes. Everyone who's traveling for this tournament, thank you very much. We do really, really appreciate it. It's great to be able to show up and, you know, play an 18-team tournament in January. Yeah, play TVA. Awesome job, guys. All right. Thanks. Like and subscribe. Took the words right out of my mouth.
This has been fun, Graham. Let's do way more of these.
Okay.